Hey everyone, it's Russ here. We are doing the video series called Where to Start in Logic, and this one is video 2 called Gear. So let's get started. This is
This is logic for newbies. Oh yeah.
Alright, let's start talking about gear. Guys, if you like this channel, please just subscribe and all those good things. Help me as I'm trying to help you guys out. I would appreciate that. So in consideration of what gear you're going to buy, you need to consider where you're currently at, your status. If you haven't put a lot of reps in, you haven't created a lot, you might consider yourself like a rookie. If you're unsure, you can go back to the first video in this series and that might help you to decipher where you're currently at in your status of as far as recording and what you're desiring to do. So what I feel like I'm at, and I'm sorry I use a lot of NBA kind of analogies because I love basketball. So I feel like I'm in the NBA and I'm not in the minor leagues. I feel I'm not Zion Williamson. I play some great defense and I have high IQ, and I think that's going to bring me far. So some of my decisions, I'm in that kind of middle spot right now that I'm still learning, but I believe I'm going to break through. So some of the equipment that I bought are things that I knew that that they're going to last me quite a while. Even when I get up into that professional stage, I wanted to have some gear that was quality, but not like quite. It's kind of that mid-range, but a little bit of the higher mid-range. So I'm going to show you that equipment. So if you're just a rookie, what I suggest is starting out is that USB microphone, something that's cheaper and direct, as well as a MIDI controller. So MIDI controller is what you control virtual instruments. So you might primarily record live instruments, but most times most people need something to control virtual instruments, and so a MIDI controller will do that. So the one I decided to purchase was the Mini Akai. The reason I decided that is I'm not a piano player. I don't need a bunch of keys. I have to record both hands separately. And so I decided all I needed was a Mini because that's all I needed. I also got this one because I had the drum pads, good velocity. I didn't know at the time how I was going to create beats. I didn't know how to create beats yet. But I decided what I used to do back in the day was use pads, right? And wasn't sure about modern beat creating, if I would do that or not. But I knew that these pads worked fairly well, that I wanted a dual device, right? So you may primarily create beats with pads and you might need to buy a separate controller to do that for your needs. This is what I needed. And so those are your decisions, is like based on the music you're creating, right? This is something that I probably will use for a long time. I don't need anything more than this. It's very functional, does everything I need. It's my primary instrument as well. Okay, so that's the MIDI controller. Let's move on to microphones. So you are now, let's assume that you're moving up in status and in your abilities, you need to get a good mic. And so I'm going to show you the one I purchased. It's this one here, the Shure SM58LC. I did my research and found that people in the industry still use this as a good go-to mic. Even if they have a lot of money, they're just like, man, I love this mic. I've been using this mic for a long time. And so I decided to get an affordable mic that's the industry standard that I knew I was going to use for a while, right? And so this is a dynamic mic. There's dynamic mics and there's condenser mics. You might have heard that. Both have different abilities. Dynamic mic kind of captures the sound that's more direct and will capture less of your environment. And for me, that's what I needed. Condenser mics capture more your environment, which sometimes is bad based on what your circumstances are. So I have a lot of, I have roommates, I have outside noises where I'm at, so condenser mic wasn't something that I primarily needed. And so my primary mic that I use is a dynamic mic, and this is a really good one. When I purchased this, the other things that you need are, they put a different thing on here. So what you frequently buy together. So you can see down here, actually, I bought something similar to this. There's a mic stand that attaches to your desk, so I needed that. I have a long desk that I use when I'm recording. And so this, if I want to stand and sing, or if I want to sit and sing, this is a very good thing for me. Other thing that you would need to get is a pop stopper that stops the wind from your voice. So when you do the P's and the D's, I guess the D's don't do that much wind. P's, right? So then that helps with not capturing those horrible sounds. This here is one that's specifically made for Shure, which is a foam cover, and it does the job, right? So you can get that, or you can get a pop stopper like this here. You can see it, I hope. And that helps stop with those P's. Okay, so I would say that you would need to get a pop stopper and a microphone if you're trying to get more serious about recording. I'll show you the condenser mic I bought. Again, it's an industry standard. I bought this later on. I actually don't use this very often. If I was to record live instruments, it's probably what I'd use. I haven't recorded a lot of live instruments recently because I'm learning kind of that EDM style of recording. A lot of sub bass, a lot of the synthesizer driven and beat creating. So it's not a lot of live instruments. So that's kind of been my focus of recent as far as my production goes. So I haven't used that often. But the Audio Technica AT 2020, again, is an industry standard for the price point. It's something that you can keep using later on too, right? So if you don't have the budget, and there's a lot of uncertainties if your career is going to capture, this is kind of one of those, the two mics I've shown you are things that are like, I'm going for it and I believe I'm going to get it, but at the same time is not spending that crazy money and maybe not hitting it, and you still have that great equipment, and then you just keep trying, keep driving, right? So it's good equipment that can last for a long time. And generally I think that's most of the equipment that I purchase. It's the mid-range, but it's a little bit more pricey, but it's something that I can keep using. And when we move on here, we're moving on to audio interfaces. With both those kind of mics, if you're not using USB mics, you need an audio interface to interact your computer with these microphones. So this is the one I purchased, is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. For the price point, for what it is, it was highly recommended. It's kind of a little pricey, but for what I wanted and what was important to me, I decided on this because this is an industry standard. Again, this brand, it's one that had high reviews. I got one with only the 2 ports because I generally, again, don't do live instrumentation, but you can buy them with more ports. So if you're recording like a live band, you can get that going on. This one has the 1 XLR and the 1/4 inch. So one for your microphone, one for your instruments. Nice thing about this is condenser mics do need phantom power. So that 48 volt, you see that button there, that built into this interface, you don't have to buy a separate device. This actually gives you phantom power for your condenser mic. So that was great. That's one of the reasons I got this one too. And other thing that's cool is you see the lights, the green and the red there. This helps you. I hope you guys know about clipping. Like when you're recording, you don't want to go up in those reds because that'll oftentimes hit those clipping notes where you get distortion in your vocals or whatever, right? So the nice thing is it has a light on it, so it goes green, yellow, red, so you can tell where your gain is at if you need to turn it up or down. Generally, you want to be in that yellow zone, right? The other thing, it has that monitor capability, and you can plug your headphones in it. So it's great. It has all the things that's functional for me, great price point, durability, everything, right? So that's one that I purchased, and I've found to be amazing so far. Again, you need to know your own budget and make your decisions based on that. There are cheaper audio interfaces and there are more expensive ones. It's like everything I'm showing you. There's cheaper ones. I decided to go kind of middle-high-ish, right? The next thing that you'll need, if you're serious about this, is you need an external hard drive. Because if you are serious, you need to get your reps in. You need to record a lot. And you need to save a lot of that information. The thing is, once you start saving a lot of information, your CPU starts slowing down if you have it all saved into your internal hard drive. So the best thing is to get an external hard drive. If you find on your Logic projects right now you're getting that overload thing, one of the things that's causing that is all of it is your CPU is being affected and being slowed down. And one of the things that can solve that is saving your projects and your samples onto an external hard drive. that'll alleviate some of the pressure on your CPU. We're going to talk about that overload thing in a different video. Right now we're just talking about the gear. So I decided on this external hard drive. The price point was excellent to me. This again is an industry standard. I know a lot of famous musicians at this point, even though they're making lots of money, this is still the go-to for them. The reason why is it's durable, it's waterproof, like here, resistant, not waterproof, water resistant. It can take a lot of crush, drop, shock, dust, and water. Buying it through Amazon, I don't know if it's elsewhere, but it has a 2-year warranty to recover data. So I like that. So when I purchased it, I have 2 years of warranty to recover data if anything goes wrong. So for me, all I needed for now was at the price point, 2 terabyte. Like if I, at 161, like if later down the line, it's probably not going to be for a couple of years that, I'm going to need another 2 terabytes. I decided for me, even though, it saves me $40 if I was to get a 4 terabyte, this is good, right? 107.9, good price point, everything that I need, everything's functional. It's got 3.0 USB, 2.0 USB capabilities, a fast transfer rate, everything that I needed, and I would highly recommend this if you can afford it. And it's one of those things that you must have, I would say, if you're serious about it, off the get-go. Okay, so the last 2 things we're going to talk about are headphones and monitors. The reason I left them for last is, and you may disagree, and it's maybe different for every person where they're at, right? So where I was at when I didn't buy good headphones and good monitors till quite a bit later on. Again, was just getting the reps in because I was learning how to get the right dynamics in a song, right? Like the different genres, everything, like when I should add an instrument, take it out, etc. And so I was putting that into practice and not looking to get a great mix at that point. So I didn't need them. So later on, I finally bought some headphones to start with. And so what I did was I was looking for something in the mid-range again, where I was currently at. And I was looking at about $100 range. And so, again, do your research because I ended up at Best Buy. And I don't buy a lot of things from Best Buy because I don't generally find a lot of good deals, but I do look once in a while. And what I found was a refurbished Audio-Technica set of headphones. And usually they're $280, and Audio-Technica is a great brand. Checked out on reviews and looked at the overviews, and I was like, $95. This was a good price for this set of headphones, and I've been very happy with them. And again, I just say do that research, man, because you might be able to find a good deal like this. It's so I was very happy with that. And so these are the headphones I bought. So you may find it that it's more important to you to have great headphones. So you do the research and get what you need. The next thing, here's monitors. These are the ones that I purchased. I spent $150 on the monitors. I'm not sure if I'm happy with them or not. I found that I was listening to my low end and it sounded very muddy, but I don't know if that's partially because of my learning curve right now as far as mixing those low ends. So it just could be me. So I'm not, making a decision on, there's part of me right now at this point is like, man, maybe I should have spent more money getting good monitors, like $150. It's pretty cheap. M Audio, I've never heard of them, but I read the reviews and comments and it's like, oh, they sound decent for where I'm at, and and I found out today, like I was going back to this and found this page, and it's like I read this: high EQ and low EQ controls allow you to dial in the perfect sound for any media, and I was like, what? And so I didn't realize for all this time, probably close to a year, that I have controls for low end and high EQ on the back of my monitor. So maybe the whole time I had the control of the low, and the muddy that I'm having is really on me because I didn't know that control existed. And then again, it could just be my recording where I'm at with that right now. So I don't know, right? So again, it's just sort of these learning curves. I'm not unhappy that I bought these, but if I may down the line, I may look back and go, I wish I spent a little bit more money on monitors. So if you have any input on that, like if you've had more experience with monitors and you spent a little bit more and you have, share that in the comments. I'd love to hear about that. And this is a community where I hope we have conversations about these things. Like we're all kind of newbies in using Logic, and I want to help you out, and hopefully we can help each other out. All right. Thanks for checking this out. Check out my other videos and subscribe. Man, I love that you're watching. and have a good one.